Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Goodman Podcast. Today we're discussing a pretty exciting development from Google DeepMind, the release of AlphaFold 3. To kind of put you in the loop, this an advanced AI model enhances our understanding of biological structures, analyzing proteins, DNA, RNA, and a whole bunch of other things. It was developed with Isomorphic Labs, and it promises to revolutionize biological research and drug discovery by predicting complex structures within seconds, speeding up processes that traditionally took months. And this increased efficiency has the potential to completely transform drug development, plant biology, and food security, amongst other things. So, Raj, how does AlphaFold 3 improve upon its predecessors in terms of predictive accuracy and the types of biological structures it can analyze?
Well, before we jump into that, I think it's a very clever move from the point of view of Google and what they've done. Diversifying, putting eggs in different baskets, literally a stroke of genius in what they've created because they probably understood, and obviously they're the ones who pioneered the whole AI revolution with the paper. So they kind of understood that there's an opportunity here in biology and life sciences. And that's where this came from. AlphaFold 3 obviously is a major step up to AlphaFold 2, and they have done some really interesting improvements, making things more clear, actually helping to discover some really interesting opportunities for us in life sciences, especially in biology for plants, animals, and what we can do to make ourselves better and safer. So I think there's a big opportunity here, and they've used AI throughout, mainly neural networks, to figure out how do we go about this, and DeepMind is also involved in this. So it's a very interesting use case of AI and where AI can really help in predicting and helping with saving lives and creating more food and a disease-free future.
So we have discussed in a previous episode how AI is being used to develop antibiotics to fight antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Can you maybe explain the significance of AlphaFold 3's ability to predict interactions and how this might accelerate drug discovery and hypothesis testing in biomedical research?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I'm not a biologist, but I know a little bit of chemistry and physics from high school, and that's where I will start, and obviously some physics and engineering. The first thing I'll mention is the accuracy they bring. They are clearer, more precise prediction opportunities compared to AlphaFold 2. And what they really provide is an atomic level detail, which was not there before, was more molecular. So it's actually going a level deeper into the prediction as well as the ability to see stuff. And in the previous version, as I understand, they were working primarily on the proteins, but now they're able to look into the DNA and RNA and legions, which basically which are very complicated to understand. And that is something which was not possible. Now being able to go to the atomic level, they're able to look at the broader molecular types, and that actually helps them to make this better in terms of prediction, as well as finding challenges and opportunities within them. Now, if we look at the significance in prediction, this is like, instead of seeing frames in a video, we can now see the full movie, is the analogy which I can think of. It goes into and interacts with a cellular environment which you couldn't do before. That means that the drug discovery is going to be faster, be more efficient, more effective, and we can expect new medicines to be produced and discovered much quicker.
Yeah.
Last thing is about testing as well. So, many a times scientists, obviously, when they're looking to create these different molecules, they are creating their best estimates on guesses, which will take months to years in prediction. Now, that speed is gone to seconds. So the return on investment or the output is thousands, 10,000, maybe a million times better than before. And that is unheard of in scientific research. Overall, we'll see a ton of more data coming out from this, more importantly, medicines to save lives, and more drugs which can save lives from things like cancer, for example, or stuff which you couldn't even think of before.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you've mentioned, cancer drugs. I would imagine HIV/AIDS is potentially a target for this type of technology as well. Obviously, we're now in 2024. Just 4 short years ago, we were kind of all entering into COVID pandemic lockdown. And it took quite a while for scientists to come up with a vaccine for, to treat and to try and prevent infection and that kind of thing. So this would obviously assist in those potential cases as well, where we face another pandemic.
Absolutely. Well, this is exactly where if we had AI 10 years back, maybe we would have no COVID. Maybe we would have only created antibiotics and had procedures in place to launch vaccinations in days, if not maximum months, for example. But now that we have this, we can actually go to the next phase of research where we can launch stuff very quickly. I think this is very exciting for the community. And who would have thought that technology could have made a big impact in biology? But actually, as it happens, innovation is linked. On one side of science can help another side of science as well. And so if you obviously make that improvements in medication, and we'll talk maybe further on about livelihood and plants and animals, actually, what will happen eventually is that we will live longer and stronger, and we will have medication for some really important challenges which we have in life. And to mention about cancer, AIDS, tuberculosis. I mean, you name things, and we'll have those done, and that won't take years on years, but hopefully now months and quarters, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah. Now you've mentioned the challenges, obviously, in the biomedical field. There are a lot of challenges. Although this technology is pretty advanced, AlphaFold 3 still faces challenges. I mean, tech is always evolving, and so while we've got at this minute the best possible tech available, it's going to iterate and become something even better further down the line. So what are some of the major challenges that AlphaFold 3 still faces? And, maybe I'm just spitballing here, but like hallucinations and that kind of thing. And how is DeepMind addressing these issues?
Yeah, so I mean, the challenges which we see in other parts of AI is happening here as well. One thing which I've just recently learned about, and I actually came across this through the All In podcast where they were talking in the science section. What they were saying was there's a thing called chiral molecules, which are basically it has a left and right hand, it's like a mirror image, and they're very difficult to really pin down, and they have a lot of challenges. It's still a real challenge in there, and that to really predict the molecule and how it functions and is still very challenging. And so using DeepMind, they're looking at how they can improve the data, perhaps feed more data to it, and have smarter algorithms looking at solutions for it. So it's actually, they have a solution down the road for us. At the moment, it's still a big challenge because these are very complex molecules and they have two different behaviors. It is challenging. Number two is our good friend or foe, hallucination. It's always been there with us, and that leads to sort of not accurate predictions, and that's a problem. But what they've done is they've provided or included confidence scores, so the scientists can see how confident the algorithm is about the predictions made. That gives them an opportunity to rerun the algorithm, for example, and then get better results. At least they know that this might be inaccurate, so, take it with a pinch of salt. At the end of the day, this is just a step in the right direction. We'll have AlphaFold 4, 5, 6, and eventually get much better.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier about things slightly outside of the biomedical field. How do you see AlphaFold 3 impacting fields such as plant biology and food security? What potential applications could be particularly transformative in these fields?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, using the same ideas and thoughts on what AI can do better for us is, finding different patterns and analyze them. I think a big part of this is in plant biology is to maybe create disease resistant, robust crops, better food supply, so that this is a real challenge in many economies, right? Where there's not enough food, for example, people are going hungry. If we can build crops which are resistant to disease, for instance, or we can have food supply because they are fertilized in a particular way, then we can actually create better crops in the future. Number two is food security. If you can create more reliable, efficient food production, be able to understand the climate change and adapt to climate as nature. So actually have research done to figure out what bits can be done using which can be climate resistant crops and create more of those. Actually, you can then be totally reliable in terms of food production and not be, if there's a drought or there's too much rain, you can still have plants growing really well.
Yeah.
Then, this is not it. There's also things you can think about environment, for example. We can create enzymes or proteins which can clean the environment, clean the seas, for example. Maybe, consume the plastic, for example, and give us more biodegradable content or produce biodegradable outputs, which will obviously clean the oceans, the environment quite a lot. And finally, it's all in the sense of this is the beginning of a journey. There will be more production of proteins, molecules, medical, industrial innovations, which will make our livelihoods better, both in the form of production of more things, taking away things which are bad for the environment, like plastics and synthetic materials, and at the end of the day, just help us be healthier, happier, and better. So science for the greater good of humanity and the planet.
Yeah. So now I have my obligatory bonus question, which came to me as you were talking now. And I'm going to combine two kind of well-known, well-worn sayings. So the first is you don't know what you don't know. And the second, funny enough, related to this kind of thing is you can never do just one thing. So my question is, we've got all this technology and the opportunities are fantastic. But, when we're looking at enzymes that we're going to release into the ocean, and the benefit is that it's going to clean the ocean and create more oxygen and et cetera, is AI going to be able to predict the drawbacks? Because for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. So and often you don't, like I say, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't foresee these kind of left field drawbacks until it's already you past the point of no return. Will AI be able to kind of predict, not maybe predict, kind of warn us, predict, whatever you want to call it?
The short answer is no. I wish I had a better answer for you, but the short answer is no. We have to. In science, from what I understand, it's all about trial and error. It's about trying different things and getting it wrong and then mitigating those challenges. We just hope that the challenges are not big enough for us so we can mitigate them. But generally speaking, it is very challenging to predict accurately because we just don't know. We create plastics to make our lives easier. And I'm sure when they discovered plastic, they were like, wow, this is it. Answer to all our queries, to all our challenges. You don't need to have any more cutting of wood, for example. You need to go and mine stuff. It's all there. But then create a monster. It led to pollution of the oceans, the environment. We're consuming microplastics ourselves at the moment. So the answer is that, yeah, we will discover new things and it'll lead to bigger challenges. But then hopefully in time, we learn the challenges and we can reverse them. But again, there's no guarantee, right? And that's why people are skeptic when people move from a natural form of eating to synthetically made food, for example, in the labs. They're like, well, what are the real outcomes of that for human health eventually? At the moment, we just say there's not much. We can't see anything very clearly, but we don't have enough data to
Yeah.
confirm either way. So yeah, but time shall tell is what I can say for the time being.
We're all being part of a long-term study of the impacts of all these technologies. Yeah, we are the data set that will inform future generations.
Exactly that. But the thing is, if we don't, and the thing is, if we don't do the experimentation, if we don't progress further, just staying where we are, is that okay? That's the thing that I keep thinking to myself. Well, is it okay to not move from villages and small towns to big cities to get the jobs when industrial revolution happened? The answer probably in my head is for sure is no, because we have grown so much. We have seen so many different things form for us. Food has become a just a given for all of us. Most of us can, receive and get food from across the world at any time, any season. But back in the day, if you look at movies from 1920s, for example, the heaven for them, the most epic thing ever for them was a land full of food. They had like trees full of fruits, for example, and cheese and everything else, and that was their absolute best moments. Now clearly that's not for us. Now we're talking about technology and Teslas and Bentleys and GPUs and CPUs in our lives to make our lives better. So, again, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, but I think innovation does help. It does give us a better life and better opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Listeners, viewers, what do you think? Tell us in the comments. Pop us a message. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you listen or watch your podcasts. Thank you, Raj. And, yeah, we'll keep our eye on developments of AlphaFold 3 and subsequent releases.
Thank you very much, Megan. Good to be in the podcast again.
Cool. See you around.